results for today's contingency. Agamemno Contingency, Sins of the Mother. Steven Universe is a hybrid human, sharing the genetics of his human father and his alien mother, known as a gem. To keep it short, gems are an alien species whose bodies are created with hard light constructs. Steven did not inherit this trait from his mother, but there are several that he did. For starters, each gem has a weapon specific to themselves, with Steven's being his mother's shield. This shield appears to be virtually indestructible, capable of deflecting any oncoming attack, at one point being capable of blocking a point-blank attack from a high-powered laser. This shield is also not limited to defense, as he has used it offensively by throwing it, one time being capable of slicing a stone pillar in half. Reminds me of another shield-wielding hero. Steven is also gifted with incredible strength, as seen here as he attempts to lift a massive machine called a gem injector. I should mention that he was in a weakened state at this time, his powers slowly fading. That said, he was still capable of moving an object weighing over 200,000 tons. Steven also has a healing factor that had gone unknown by him for many years. Originally, what was considered slapstick was actually his body repairing itself from blunt force trauma instantly. His healing abilities can also affect others, his spit being capable of undoing the damage of a terraforming liquid that had nearly destroyed his home city. Meanwhile, his tears were capable of reviving someone who had recently died. However, their revival seemed to come with a few alterations, as the revived boy not only saw his skin turn pink, but he seemed to lose any human needs such as food. In terms of personality, Steven is someone who would rather use words over violence. As such, under normal circumstances, he'd likely never turn his back on humanity. That said, however, Steven has struggled with one thing in his life, and that was his own emotions. As someone who has known nothing but conflict growing up, Steven was left unable to handle stress in a healthy manner. This caused his powers to grow exponentially, and at one point he would lose himself to them, resulting in the shattering of another gem. In the end, his mental breakdowns would result in his body undergoing a monstrous transformation, becoming a being so powerful even the rulers of the gems weren't a match for him. In terms of a proper contingency, I must be careful, as going too far will only make things far more dangerous. One constant when it comes to Steven's powers is that they are tied to his emotions and mental state, something I've been capable of exploiting in the past. Through the use of post-hypnotic suggestion, I believe I can recreate an event from his early childhood. Due to a desire to grow up and mature, Steven's gem would react in kind. Using a gem's natural shape-shifting ability, Steven would begin to age rapidly. This would persist until he was left a decrepit old man unable to move, and likely at death's door. I do not wish to go that far with him. However, I believe I can do the opposite, and cause Steven to regress to a younger age before his powers began to manifest. Should this fail, however, I have a backup, a gem weapon that had been destroyed but I was able to salvage. This scythe-like weapon has one function, which is to reset a gem back to their original design, similar to returning a computer to factory default. Now, normally Steven is immune to weapons designed to attack a gem's body, but this is not the case, as direct contact with this weapon caused his powers to weaken slowly. With time, I was able to recreate the energy this weapon outputs, and managed to remake it in the form of a new batarang. There is one last thing I should add, and that is under no circumstances should there be any attempt to remove Steven's gem from his body. Doing so will result in the spawning of another entity, dubbed Pink Steven. This entity seems capable of using the gem's full power, something as simple as raising its voice being enough to shake the ground it stood on. So long as it remains a part of Steven, we should stand a chance. And if you think we can't, we'll find a way.